Ifata, Ifata, go to wish, go to wish, go to wish, Adonai, tis Bayath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chokure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chokure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Ifata, go to wish, go to wish, go to wish, Adonai, tis Bayath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chokure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Farah, and Farah, and Farah. And fat, Ifata, go to wish, go to wish, go to wish, Adonai, tis Bayath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chokure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, thank Otai, for me, la, for my body world, compassion, thank Otai, for me, la, for my body world, compassion, Ifata, go to wish, go to wish, go to wish, Adonai, tis Bayath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chokure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio. Thank Otai for me, for my body world. Compassion. Ifatu, Koduish, Adunai, Tis Bayath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, Han, Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seike, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world. Compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Fa, Ra, O, and Fa, Ra, O, and Fa, Ra, O, and Fa, Ra, O, and Ifata, Koduish, Adunai, Tisbeath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, Han, Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Ifata, Koduish, Adunai, Tisbeath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, Han, Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seike, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world. Compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, thank Otai for me, for my body world. Compassion, thank Omane, bed me hung for my body world. Compassion, Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Alhamdu, Lillahi, Rabu, Alihim, Rili, Maudubi, Alihim, Wallah, Dalin, Amin, Koduish, Adunai, Tisbeath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seike, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world. Compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, fat, Ifata, Feta, feta. Kodewish, Kodewish, Kodewish. Adonai, Tizbeath, YHWH, Daikumio. Think YHWH, Daikumio. Han, Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio. For my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio. Fa, Ra, O, and 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 Ifata, Ifata, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, Tizbeath, YHWH, Daikumio. Thank YHWH, Daikumio. On Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio. For my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio. Fat, 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 fat. Fat, 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 fat. Ifata, Ifata, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, Tizbeath, YHWH, Daikumio. Thank YHWH, Daikumio. Han, Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio. For my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio. Ifata, Ifata, Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Enna-Hitainak, Alklutha, Posenle, Larabika, one heart in Shaniaka, Hoelelabtu, think on Monday, pad me hung for my body world. Compassion, thank God, pad me hung for my body world. Compassion, fat, 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 fat. Ifata, Koduish, 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 Adunai, Tis Bayath, YH, WH, Daikumio, thank YH, WH, Daikumio, Han, Sha, Z, Shu, Nan, Seke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Farah, and Farah, and Farah, and who Ifata, Koduish, 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 Adunai, Tis Bayath, YH, WH, Daikumio, thank YH, WH, Daikumio, Han, Sha, Z, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YH, WH, Daikumio, thank Otai, Famila, for my body world, Farao and Farao and Farao and Farao and fat, 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 ifata, Koduish, 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 Adunai, Tis Bayath, YH, WH, Daikumio, thank YH, WH, Daikumio, Kon, Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, Ifata, 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 Kodewish, 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 Adonai, Tisbeah, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Fa, Ra, U, and Fa, Ra, U, and Fa, Ra, U, and Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Inna Etainaka Al-Kutha Posenli Larabika one heart Inna Shaniaka Ho well Alabtur thank Otai for me La for my body world compassion thank Otai for me, La, for my body world, compassion, Ifata, 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 Kodewish, 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 Adonai, Tisbeah, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, fat, 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 fat. Ifata, Ifata, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, Tisbeah, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Fa, Ra, O, and 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 Ifata, 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 Kodewish, 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 Adonai, tis Beath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Z, Shu, Nan, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, Fet, 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 fet. Ifette, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, tis Beath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nen, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, Farah, oh, and Farah, oh, and Farah, oh, and Ifata, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, tis Beath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, thank Otai, for me, la, for my body world, compassion, thank Otai, for me, la, for my body world, compassion, fet, 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 fet. Ifette, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, tis Beath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YHWH, Daikumio, thank Omane, paid me hung, for my body world, compassion, thank Omane, paid me hung, for my body world, compassion, Ifette, Kodewish, 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 Adonai, tis Beath, YHWH, Daikumio, thank YHWH, Daikumio, on Sha, Ze, Shu, Nan, Seiheke, Chakure, Daikumio, for my body world, compassion, YH WH Daikumio